Yeah, buddy.
Let's battle. Let's go, Mom.
Lead it first. Let's go. Lead time.
Come on, you got it.
Get up.
Get back and grab their back shoulders. Drive. Reach.
Hold it. Hold it.
So I kind of just wanted to talk to you guys about like your dynamic and like how you guys got to this point, and stuff like that. That's cool with you?
Sure.
Awesome. So, Crystal, you've been an athlete pretty much your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did that look like at the start? Were you always a strength athlete, or did you do other sports too?
No, I started out, I played basketball and softball, and I was going to go to college and play basketball, and then I ended up getting married instead, and my husband Wayne went into the military, so kind of followed him around and kind of got my college degree as we were moving around. So I never played college sports, but then I played intramural sports when I was in college, and then I played, when we were in Korea right before I got pregnant with him, we were still playing basketball, you know, just like community league for any of the soldiers, and so I played with that. And then after I had him, I started running because that was the one thing I could do with him in a stroller, you know. So I ran a lot and I got competitive in running, and then I added some strength stuff to it, you know, just to get stronger. And then I found CrossFit, and then it just kind of went from there.
Do you remember what year that was when you found CrossFit?
2010.
2010, pretty cool. And Morgan, you've been weightlifting since?
I was 7 years old.
7 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, what year was that?
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
Okay, so just shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play any sports before then, or like when you were still learning weightlifting, were you playing other sports?
Yeah, I played when I was really young, soccer, and then I did football, basketball, t-ball. I never wanted to play against other kids, so I quit way early.
It was to the point he said when he got to kids pitch, he goes, I don't want an 8-year-old throwing a ball at me.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust kids, so.
You know, when it was coach pitch, it was okay.
Yeah.
Even with football, the same way, like just didn't trust other kids to like not kill you?
Not really. I just didn't like the position I was in, so I would have to wait a few more years until I would kind of be the position I wanted, and I just didn't feel like waiting.
Yeah.
So I just quit.
Well, when he was 6, we lived in Savannah, Georgia, and they did full contact, full gear football at 6 years old.
What?
And it was starting in August, so it was really hot. If you've ever lived in Savannah, Georgia, it is hot in August. And he hated it so much that we just didn't even, I don't even know, that was the one time I don't even think I made him complete the season, because my husband was deployed, but yeah. And then we tried football again when we lived in Kansas, and you were 6th grade, 5th grade?
5th grade.
And because of how big he was, they had that big red circle on the back of his helmet that said he could only play the line.
Oh, okay.
So
it'd be like your weight.
His body weight, yeah. So it didn't matter how good you were, you know, speed, athleticism, you still had to play on the line. So he would have destroyed some of those little children.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still play any other sports just for fun, like besides playing basketball out here to warm up?
Not competitive, but I throw the football a lot, baseball, basketball.
Is Fortnite a sport?
I mean, technically it is.
He's really good at like, what is it, the 2K?
Yeah, that's what a lot of my time is. I just play video games a lot.
Yeah? Sounds like some good recovery time. No, that's cool. So you play a lot of video games. What else do you do in your free time?
Mainly schoolwork. I do that in the mornings from like 9:30 until about noon. Then I eat. If I have time, I'll play a few games, and then I'll head to the gym around 2:15, 2:30. Then I'll be here until about 5:30. Then I'll go home, eat, and play more video games until like 10, 11.
That's fair.
And his schedule does not vary very much from that unless we have something going on.
Really, that's like
It's
pretty
the same
routine.
thing every single day.
That's crazy. And so you do your schoolwork in the morning. You're homeschooled.
hmm
How long has that been going on?
Since the beginning of 8th grade. I went all the way through to 7th grade in just regular school, private school.
Yeah, this is the 4th year.
Okay. How do you like that?
I like it. It's a lot easier to handle when you travel a lot. I mean, it's still hard to get done because when you're traveling, you really, especially for lifting, you don't feel like being stressed out with school.
Yeah.
So it's easier to catch up though. Like I can just do a lot in one day, especially when I'm like taking a week off after a meet. I can like catch up because I'm not doing anything else. So it's way easier than going to regular school and having to like talk to teachers saying I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks.
We did that for 7th grade.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much that we were traveling for his schedule. It was just like we still lived 2 hours away and we would come up here. We did go, like I competed a couple of times out of town, and just all together between him traveling like for just national meets, it was 3 weeks out of school.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it was all, I mean, he never got behind because we always got his work and he did it, but I can't imagine somebody, and I mean, there's some great youth athletes out there, college athletes that do this, but I think it's definitely an advantage for him because you think about some of these kids who go to school full time and then they have homework at night and then they're still trying to train and, you know, but I mean, that's not why we did it. We did it more for some other reasons when it comes to moving and stuff. I don't have to worry about a school district. You know, that makes a difference when you're military.
Right.
So.
That's huge. Is Wayne still in the military?
No, he just retired in late 2017.
Okay, so you don't have to like worry about that travel too. What's the thing that you like most about that?
I just like how easy it is to maintain. Like I don't have to, I can wake up basically any time. I don't, but
Especially now that I'm coaching in the mornings, I'll be like, I'll get home and I'll be like, dude, get up. Some days, sometimes if I get home, but other times he's up and already doing it.
yeah, but mainly I can, like if I had a rough night's sleep, I can kind of sleep a little bit longer and then I can just get up a little bit later and start working. Because I have anywhere from like when I wake up until 2:30 to get it done. So if I'm like really tired, I can rest a little bit longer and just work a little bit faster on my schoolwork. That's what I like more.
That's fair. And you said that you usually spend like 3 hours, it sounded like, between like 9:30 and 12:30 to get everything done. It sounds like it's a lot more compact, and can you like really work through everything that you would in a normal school day in like that short amount of time?
Yeah, it's the same thing, except it doesn't have as many breaks and a lunch break. It doesn't, like school is 8 hours just because it's like so spread out. Classes have like 20 minutes between them.
They have
So-
lunch, they have, yeah, I did that one time. I like put like if he was in school for this and this, you know, because I think high school is 6 hours long, but I think they're really only in class for maybe 3.5 hours of it, you know, between all the breaks and stuff. So, you know, and there's a lot less stuff that he has to worry about, you know, I mean, and it's not, it's built on workbooks and stuff, so we don't have deadlines. Like some of the homeschooled, like the public school system, they'll have a homeschool system. And I mean, Ryan, I think even did it for a year, but you still had deadlines and you still had to do face-to-face, like on the computer with people. And sometimes it wouldn't, you might be in another country when you're supposed to turn something in or, you know, competing. So this is really cool. The only time we have to worry is like in April that we have to make sure that he can take the standardized testing that they do every year. And then the ACT, SAT will be this next spring, so.
So when it came to when you guys got to National Meet, what did that look like? Do you remember like his first day?
Well, the first time we ever walked into MASH was Travis and I had talked back and forth just on Messenger from a video that he posted. I commented, he sent me a message, and we just chatted back and forth. It's funny because people are always like, you guys aren't related, you're not, you know, you haven't known each other your whole lives. Like, they've asked that before, and I'm like, no, we just met like 4 years ago. I guess when you click with people, and our families just really clicked. But we came up Christmas break, 2015, right?
December 7th of 2015.
Wow, okay. So we came up, and it was like a Friday, I think, and really it was more about just seeing if we liked the environment, because we knew about Travis, we knew about Match. I mean, we didn't live under a rock, but you know, we just wanted to see if it was a place that we might see a future at. And then of course he immediately was like, when can you guys move up here? So for 2 years, it was all, you know, we kept just debating on whether or not we would move. So, but tell him about the first day.
My first day there, I was terrified because I walked in and all you can see is like Nathan, Dylan, Tom, Mason, like all of the people you see on the videos. And I'm just like some 12-year-old just in the corner, nervous, barely, not even snatching 70 kilos. And you see them like snatching 140 to 160. So it's a place that I knew I wanted to be because I knew I could get really good really fast, just because of the people that were there. So I knew I wanted to move there after the first day, but having to wait 2 years was very frustrating because every time we would come up like every Friday, and then we'd stay and then train Saturday too. So when I'd have to go home and train at our like CrossFit gym back home, I just hated it because I just wanted to be up there every day. So when we finally moved here, my training started picking up because you see these people like one time a week, so you never really got close to them until you move here and you see them every day. And my training started going really well, and that's when my numbers started shooting up.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we lived in Fayetteville, he would train after school, and I was running a CrossFit gym and coaching. So I was coaching him, but I didn't see every single lift. You know, I wasn't videoing every single lift. He was training by himself, where people were walking in front of him, and you know, things like that. So it was a little bit, I mean, it was a good environment for him, but it wasn't obviously a weightlifting specific gym where people's eyes are on you all the time. And so it was nice to come up. It's funny because I jokingly say that there's like something in the water or there's magic in the room when you're here. But it's true, when somebody comes here and visits, it's very rare that they don't PR or do well. But when you move here, it just becomes normal. So that's when the hard work starts. It's like, you know, you don't have that I mean, the environment, it breeds a really good environment, but it becomes your environment. So you're still gonna have good and bad days. Whereas, you know, when we were coming up, it just always seemed like that one day was like a really good day because it was a brand new environment every week. So, yeah, it was cool.
So when you first started here, you said you couldn't snatch 70.
Mm-hmm.
What were your numbers? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure my best numbers, they shot up quite a bit that first day, but it was like 65 and like 91. I'm pretty, like I had clean and jerk 91. I know that, but my snatch was like from 65 to 68.
For a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So you were 12 at the time.
Yes. And I remember that first day at MASH, I snatched like 72, and I clean and jerked 94.
It amazes me that he remembers these numbers and dates.
Yeah. I think for me it was all the people there were working so hard that I kind of came in with the mentality, especially when I became like 14 to 15, it was like walk in and try and PR something. It doesn't matter if it's a shirt press or your 5 RM good morning by 1 kilo, just keep going up every single day, no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. And that started helping because a lot of people do the same weight every week, every day. Like, it's just boring. So you want to come in and just think 1 more kilo every single day, no matter what it is. And that's what I did.
When you're 14, 15, that's not a far stretch either.
Yeah, it's not hard. I remember I PR'd probably like 16 times in 1 week at some point.
What?
It was like a back squat, a snatch, a clean and jerk, a clean, a front squat, just stuff like that. We were like testing out my numbers and just like 16 PRs. It was so fun.
Yeah, I'll say over the years though, he's learned to auto-regulate better. I mean, when you're in a room filled with people that are as good as they are, especially back then, and even most recently, you push yourself. I mean, and you want to push yourself, but every day, it might not be a good day for you, and learning to just, pull back sometimes and save it for another day or whatever. I think he's gotten much better at doing that.
Yeah, I've learned to be smarter with my attempts. Yeah, because right now with my program, we're working more with consistency, and I've gone 4 days without missing a lift, and that's been a long time since that's happened.
And
How's
at
that
high
feel?
percentages, I mean, it's
Yeah.
over 90%, so,
Wow.
yeah.
Being consistent like that, how's that feel as opposed to like pushing to hit new and bigger numbers every time you come in?
I've always thought that consistency mattered more. I don't think you really need to PR to have a good meet. So for me, hitting like a last warm up 4 times feels way better than barely making your opener. Because if you can hit it 4 times, of course you're gonna hit your opener, so you don't even have to try it. So I think the consistency for me right now matters way more than anything like a PR. Because I know I can do it, and when I go to the meet, I'm not gonna be nervous to take it. So it's just being able to hit your opener multiple times per week, your last warm up the week before, and then you'll be fine. People think they have to hit like a PR that week for them to have a good meet, but that's just not how it works.
Some of his best meets have been with the worst peak ever.
Oh, really?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like usually when somebody has a really bad peak, we're like, yeah, that's just par for the course. You're gonna do great at your meet. So, yeah. I think he's learned to trust the process more too. That, just maturity.
When it came to you coaching Morgan, and that's been something that has been going on since day one. And what's that dynamic like?
I mean, I think it's good. Like, I think it's good that I have, obviously Travis is, just as involved. I'm here more on the daily, and I was there with him when he was younger. Travis, will write the program, and then he'll send it to me, and then, I'll look over it, and then he'll say if I need to add anything, or if I feel like we need to make any changes, just, make the changes, let him know. So we collaborate on that, and then, but it's good to have someone other than me that he sees as coach, because there might be things that I'm going to say to him that he might take better from Travis than from me. So it's a really good dynamic, just all 3 of us. But we've had our moments. Probably a couple years ago, there was a time when we were in here and I said something to him, and just the way he said it, I was like, okay, wait. So we had to I call it a come to Jesus moment, where it's like, when we're in the gym, I'm not nagging you, I'm not your mom, I'm your coach. So if I'm telling you something, it's just to help you with your lift. And he was like, I get it. Okay. And then I think ever since then, we've really not. I mean, it's good. I mean, he listens really well. I think.
She's never said that before.
What?
She always says I argue.
Well, I mean, arguing and listening, you just want to get your opinion across. I think there's a good way to argue and there's a bad way to argue, Most of the time it's good. But when I say, I
This
say.
is just because it's on camera. You would not say this if it was just.
You are lying.
I'm not.
Listen to him.
Morgan, would you say that you're coachable?
I've gotten better.
Okay.
I think for a little while, like last year, it got to the point where I thought I knew what I was doing a little bit.
Typical 15-year-old.
And then I really think everything changed after Youth Worlds when I had a terrible meet. I bombed out, and me and Trav talked, and me and her talked, and it was just like, you have to listen more. Like, this wouldn't have happened if you weren't like not going off program, but you were basing your percentages higher. You were missing a lot and just going and going and going. And then ever since then, it just feels better. Like I'm happier when I train because I'm not worried about like a certain training session making my whole career. Because you know, a training session really doesn't matter, it's just practicing. So if you miss, just make it at the meet. That's all you have to do. It doesn't matter how your training's going. But for me, I always thought that, like if I had a bad day before, I had to make it better. So I had to PR the next day. Then like the day after, my back would be hurting and I wouldn't say anything because I didn't want to like have to take a day off.
Yeah.
So now it's like I have to say if something's going on with me, because it's gotten to the point to where sometimes it's just I like to keep things in and I just can't do that.
No. Well, because I think the biggest thing is he's finally realized that, you know, this is, if he wants to go to the Olympics multiple times, it's a long game, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what you do as a youth. And you certainly don't want your youth and junior years to be your best years. So, you know, because he started early, we have to be a lot smarter with him, especially on his recovery and his, you know, we're still working on the nutrition and the stretching and the sleep, you know, because Fortnite and stuff, and, you know, but
Stretch today.
he did stretch today. But those are things that they're, you know, they're coming along. Like he's getting more interested in like how much food he should be eating and things like that. So it's starting to piece together. I think that he's gonna be, he's gonna have it all pieced together before he needs it to be pieced together. But it's just typical 16-year-old, you know. But how much better would you be if you were, you know? And I think that's what he's finally asking himself.
Sounds like it was a hard lesson to learn, though.
Oh yeah, it definitely wouldn't have changed like that if it wasn't for how bad that meet was. And then a few months later, I had a wrist injury that really made me question like how I thought about things. Because I'll admit I'm pretty stubborn with like, I guess, clarking a lift, and that's kind of what made me hurt my wrist. I didn't feel like clarking it, so I just tried to go under it, and it caught my wrist and pulled these fingers back. And I think I showed you the video, but like since then, actually what changed it is Travis sent me a text message, and the day before I competed, because it hurt my wrist about like 8 days before I had to compete at Junior Pan Ams in Cuba, and like I couldn't hook grip a bar without it hurting overhead. So he sent me a text message, and it was like, if you want to be known like CJ and Harrison, if you want to be that person, you have to dig deep down and prove to yourself that you can. So I walked into the meet and I opened kind of light, but it was still pretty decent openers with a hurt wrist, and I went 5 for 6 and got bronze. And the top 2 guys may be going to the Olympics. So it was,
And they were both 20.
yeah, it opened my eyes knowing that, not that I can push through an injury, but it's, if I need to for something I really want, I can do it, because I love the sport. So he told me after, like, he had to go to youth nationals, so he wasn't there. He told me the day before he left, he was like, I wish I could be here, but prove to yourself that you can do this. And then he gave me a hug, and then I was just like, I was ready to compete right then.
Yeah, it was a hard week leading up to that too, because
I missed a 50 kilo snatch the day before I competed.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah, and I went and snatched 130 the next day.
well, nobody knew that though either. Like, we were just trying, you know what I mean? Because we didn't really know how bad the injury was, and I mean, he PR'd his snatch like after it happened,
Yeah,
with
I
straps.
taped it up, wrist wrap and strapped,
So
just so I could keep lifting. And I just now stopped wearing wrist wraps. Like I still wear them, but sometimes I don't. And it's been since June. And it still bothers me sometimes, but we're getting worked on more and staying like up to it. so it doesn't start bothering me again. And it's going pretty well. My PT said it's doing pretty good, so pretty happy about that.
I will say though, the Junior Pan Ams, it was something that was able to, for me personally, like I wanted him to have a good meet as well. So with the injury, we wanted to open a little bit heavier, like lighter than we did at Youth Worlds, but heavier than what we did. But we went a little bit lighter just because I wanted to see how his wrist handled it. And so we opened a little bit lighter, and we ended up what he bombed out at Youth Worlds with a bum wrist. However, he went 3 for 3 on snatch. So that being his next meet after Youth Worlds, I think it was a big confidence booster to go 3 for 3. And then when we go to the AO3, we open at what we wanted to open up at Junior Pan Ams. If you remember, he missed his opener, and of course I look and I'm like, okay. And you know, it was a funnel, so we didn't go as high as I wanted to go because I didn't want him to sit or anything. So we just went a kilo, but then he went 2 for 3, so he went and he killed his third attempt, so he had more in him. And then he went 3 for 3 on clean and jerk. So I think that the injury kind of forced him to take a step back. It wasn't detrimental. You know, we just had to kind of work through it and take a step back. But I think mentally it helped him because he's had a couple of really good international, national meets, going 5 for 6 and breaking an American record. And I think confidence-wise, coming back from Youth Worlds, I think that's huge.
So after AO3 and breaking the American record, what's sort of the next steps leading up into going into 2020, like finishing out this part of the quad and then really pushing for 2024? Like, what does the rest of this year look like?
For me, my main goal is to go to Junior Worlds and most likely break the Youth World Record clean and jerk. That's been my goal for like ever since the weight classes changed. I saw what the number was and I told myself that I could do that. And I'd love to win Youth Worlds. Mainly I'd love to at least medal or win all the international events that I do next year, which I have a pretty good chance of 3 of them. And the 4th one, that'd be pretty rough for Junior Worlds. That one's
Well, he would, clean and jerk wise, he would be up there. And who knows, like, you know, yes, everyone, we're working on his snatch every single day. Just putting that out there. And I think he's about to have a major breakthrough. He PR'd it a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago? Something like that. Anyway, and you know, he's got the pull and the ability to do a lot more than he has. It's just kind of putting it all together. So I think that by the time he gets out of his youth year next year, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with seniors and senior teams and everything. So mark my words, when the snatch comes together, it's over. I feel like Travis when I say that.
That does sound like a very Travis thing to say.
He's rubbed off on me. But it's true. Like right now, I mean, you know, it's so funny because every time that we go to a meet and he snatches, he's like, did I medal? It's like, you got 4th. At the AO series, he goes, I'm forever 4th in the snatch.
It's always by 1 kilo.
Oh, man.
Actually, you tied. The dude just got it first.
Oh, at AO3?
At AO3.
Shoot.
Like at Junior Pan Ams, I could have gotten bronze all the way through, but the guy did 131, I did 130.
He chipped the guy chipped him.
At Youth Pan Ams in 2018, I snatched 121. 122 was the bronze. So I had to come back and clean and jerk like 8 kilos more than the winner to win. And I just was like, if I could actually snatch something, it wouldn't be so hard.
It'll happen.
Yeah. You guys said you're working on it.
He's putting the work in.
You were
Every day.
strong, very strong on last Friday.
I felt strong. I just couldn't keep the weight over my head, I guess. I had a few good attempts at it though.
But you had attempts that I was actually starting to celebrate. You know, because you just thought it was going to be there, and then it's like,
For me, I've gotten good at working all the way through like my second attempt, I guess, without any misses, and then that third attempt, it's always like either there or not. Like 140, 141 is like my hopeful snatch that I want to do, and that's just that number right now. It's so annoying. I've hit it once, but since then I haven't yet.
Been close.
140, you said you've hit once?
Yeah, I've hit 140 once.
And it was so easy.
Really?
Yes. So easy.
I feel like that's just a number that I have to skip. I just have to go like 142. I hate snatching 100 kilos. That's just like my least favorite snatch.
Really?
So I think I may start going like 90, 110 or something. Just to like skip that weight, because I hate it. That's a number that if I'm at a meet and I'm like not looking good, just don't look at 100, because that doesn't count.
The 100 attempt just does not count.
Yeah, just get through it and just put more weight on. Don't do it again.
Your goals going into 2020 season is just to medal or win at every international meet. And then I heard you and Travis talking on Friday. But the start of the next quad, you want to start pushing for doing like 8 sessions a week and then 16 sessions a week and stuff like that.
Just slowly build.
Yeah, once I get out of school more, like once I graduate and have more control over my schedule, we'll probably try and push it to like 14 to 16. But after AO final, I think we're going to push it to 8 or 9. Try and do like 2-a-days 3 times a week.
We were doing that for a little bit just because a couple of his sessions were really long, and it was like technique work and then build up. And you know, whenever you tell an athlete to do technique work and build up, what do they normally do? They just go through the motions of the technique work to get to the bigger weights. So I brought him in twice. We came in twice a week for those 2 days, and he just worked on the technique, and it made a huge difference because that's what he was focused on. He didn't have anything else to do, and then the sessions later in the day went better. So I think that's more kind of volume, but the intensity will probably stay the same.
Yeah.
So, but the most pressing goal that we have, that's the closest at the AO final, is just to just increase his total, because the junior world list, you know, obviously we want him to be as high on the junior world list as possible. So that's just kind of seeing what we need to hit to go up on the list.
Because finals, it's like the last chance qualifier for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, we'll know. So.
What do you guys like to do outside of weightlifting, like as a family unit?
Well, Morgan and I go to a movie probably at least once a week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sometimes Wayne comes with us, sometimes he doesn't, but that's kind of our thing. It used to be on Thursdays, like when he was off, we would go get, because I take Thursdays off as well. I coach early in the morning, but I don't come back. And he would do his schoolwork, and then we'd be like, okay, let's go see what's on the movies. Now sometimes we'll do it Saturdays after training, sometimes, but we do it at least once a week. That's kind of our thing. We see what's going on, but I don't know. We like to, we'll go hiking and things like that when it's farther away from a meet. I don't know, really. We like to eat.
What's usually, do you have like a genre you go for movies, or is it just anything that looks interesting?
Gosh.
Oh, not really.
We've seen horror movies, funny movies, dramas. Like we literally saw Joker one day, and then the next thing we saw was It 2.
Yeah, back-to-back clown movies.
Yeah.
Joker.
So it's really just what's out.
Yeah, that was a very good movie.
Any like physical, like you said you like to go hiking and stuff like that, but like any sort of like pickup games of like basketball or anything like that you guys play?
Yeah, about every day I go outside and play basketball against somebody, if it's horse or if it's like a one-on-one game. But I try and stay away from one-on-one now.
Why is that?
A few months ago, me and Nathan a lot would play one-on-one, and we'd be so aggressive that we almost concussed each other. So
It's about twisted ankles, things like that?
No, we seriously
Saying it could be,
we
well.
busted heads, and the next day we came in and we couldn't snatch anything.
Oh my god.
Pickup games turn into a competition real fast around here.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, he and his dad will go out and throw football, throw baseball. We get out and we just walk. I mean, like, there's so much of our time is spent in the gym. But one of the things that we try to do, especially like if we're at a meet, we're going to do this at the AL final. I try to remind him that he's still just a kid. So we like to go to basketball games, football games. We like to go to the baseball games. So we're going to go to a basketball game while we're out in Utah. When we go to junior nationals, we're going to go to a basketball game out there because that's something that he likes to do. And I just want him to remember that as important as weightlifting is, that it's not, you have to, do other things as well and enjoy life, because this is a very, very stressful sport.
Yeah. That's for sure.
What?
So like, we've heard what a typical day looks like for you, which is basically you wake up at some point in the morning, maybe the afternoon, do some schoolwork, eat some food, come here, train, play some PS4, and it's pretty much that on repeat.
Yeah.
What does your daily routine look like?
I wake up at 4:15 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and then first thing I do when I come downstairs is make my coffee, which I have not had coffee today because I'm cutting weight.
I'm so sorry.
But I come and coach 2 classes. I usually train unless it's something that I can't do by myself, like if I need to bench heavy. I usually train sometime around between 7 and 8:30. That's my training time because it's really quiet in the gym. I don't have anybody else in here that I'm coaching. There's usually nobody that comes in the front door that needs help. So I usually train between 7 and 8:30, depending on what's going on. Like some days I might be here all day because we're podcasting, or just like when we have people visiting. But most of the time I can go home and I hang out at home, but I write programs. I have 30-something online clients. I write articles, things like that. So I'm usually at home until about time to come back to the gym. And then I come back and I coach with Travis for our team. And then we usually leave, and I have some personal training clients as well. And then usually we're out of here by 5:30 or 6, some days earlier, some days later. And then go home, cook dinner, and then go to bed so I can wake up at 4:15 of the next morning.
And Morgan can wake up at 11.
Yeah. As long as he's awake and sitting downstairs before I get home, I don't care. But if he's still in bed or in the shower and it's 10 o'clock, I'm like, dude, I have been up for almost 6 hours. Gosh, Morgan, what do you want to say to all those young kids out there that look up to you?
Chat, bro.
Mainly just keep having fun in your training. People get it wrong, thinking they have to improve every day. Just keep having fun coming in, make friends, meet people at meets and stay in touch, and you'll stay in the sport a very long time. If you don't and you just keep yourself cut off, you'll never have fun. You'll have fun for a year and you'll be like, why am I doing this? And then go play high school sports. Just keep doing it, keep having fun. That's what I gotta say.
No, I'll add to that as far as if you're a parent of an athlete like Morgan, then provide opportunities for them. If they are expressing interest in doing something like this and they have goals, find a coach for them. Find someone who knows what they need, and pursue opportunities for them. I think that's the biggest thing that we did for him, was we always looked for opportunities to allow him to grow in this sport. As a coach in general, and if you coach youth athletes, just like he says, especially youth athletes, make sure they're having fun. Make sure they're smiling. make sure that they're not too stressed out, because this is it's a fickle sport, and it can be mean to you one day and be your best friend the next day. So it's a very emotional sport, and you have to make sure that your athletes are enjoying the process. So
oh yeah, another thing is like, if you ever want to like find your love for the sport again, just go to like a local meet in the youth session and just watch that and see the smiles on these kids' faces. Then you'll realize how much like the sport really affects people. Like just a 1 kilo PR can make someone's year. So even if you're like 40 years old and you're not PRing, just remember it's a process. It doesn't come easy. The sport is hard and mentally tough.
Yeah, and I think people, you know how you come across people in the back room and they're so serious. Like, you try to crack a joke to a coach and they look at you like, this is not the time. Do you see that?
Yeah, 100%.
So, Travis and I may seem obnoxious to some people in the back room, but that's a very, very fun part of our job, and I love my job. I love getting to work with our athletes, and I want to make sure they're having fun, and I'm having fun while I'm doing it. So don't be afraid to smile in the back room. Enjoy your athletes, enjoy those times, celebrate with them, and just have fun. It's okay to have fun as a coach too.
Yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to say, talk about?
I love you.
No
Oh,
love.
do I just say that because we're on camera? Do I never say that either? Just about 1 million times a day. He usually says it back too. And that's why we weightlift and we don't play basketball.
That's fair.
I hit the chalk bucket.
I thought it was going to go in the chalk bucket for sure.
I thought it was gonna
I think
go
you
in
hit
the
2
blue
chalk
thing.
buckets.
I definitely made that.
Yeah, he's gonna edit it. He edited it out.
Yeah, just edit like a swish, like that swish edit, where it just goes when I throw it. It looks like basketball going in. That's what you gotta do.
We'll do that real quick.
Yeah. Might take us all day.
Oh, man. Okay.
It bounced off the ghost can.
Yes. Totally made it. First time.
Yeah, first try. Do it perfect.
He usually says it back too. This is editable, right?
100%.
Edible.
Edible? I don't know about edible. Editable.
I'm so hungry
for
right
sure.
now.
I feel that. I'm sorry. Well, not as much as you.